Let's get this on the go. Let's get this started up. Let's see what's going to happen. Is in the bottom right corner of the map, we are going to have ourselves the red Terran player. This is going to be HeroMarine. Takes on the blue Zerg in the top left-hand side. This is going to be Solar. In number 1 of this best of 5 series TVZ style to figure out which of these two players will continue their run in the winner's bracket. So we can obviously start getting a little bit deeper here. HeroMarine versus Solar. The winner of this plays against Dark in the next round, which is also going to be very exciting as well. So that will also be very fun as we get this ready to go. Yeah, that'll be very fun. Whichever player wins here, I believe the winner versus Dark will be tomorrow. Just if HeroMarine ends up winning, he has to play later on tomorrow. Whereas if Solar wins a day, I think he can play against Dark probably at an earlier point in time. So that will most likely be the situation. As obviously we're working our way through this current section of the bracket, it'll be fun to again be filling out this bracket in general as we continue to move on through. Again, just great match after great match. Like, there's not a player in this tournament right now that you're not like, oh my goodness, like, he's going to have to play him? Like, oh my god, like, that's insane. So, yeah. It's going to be very fun as our Reaper is just going to be going to the upper left-hand side. I'm just going to see a couple of queens and a few Zerglings on the way out. Obviously, we'll see what this Reaper can get up to as well for a couple of moments here. As it heads straight into the natural and throws the grenade down to bop a couple of the drones about. A few Zerglings coming around here as well. Just never seen that Reaper continue to fight, continue to trade. A couple of queens, a couple of drones all coming through our hatchery building as well. Zerglings there just to again push the Reaper back around for a couple of moments. So the factory coming in, the CCs are on the way. Reaper just poking away in that hatchery for a couple more moments as well, so a bit more damage dealt there just to start things out. And again, our orbital command building through as we speak. I think the Reaper just chill on the low ground as HeroMarine has found a little bit of info early, just to see what HeroMarine's TVZ is looking like at the moment. HeroMarine, I feel like, has always gone through stages with his TVZ where he's been very happy to play a bit more aggressive off 2 base, or sometimes it's really all about that kind of 8 racks all in. Against Solar, he's had some fantastic series over time. I think back of not Katowice in 2023, but in 2022 when he went all the way through to those semi-finals, he beat Solar in the most ridiculous series. If you don't remember that one, it's absolutely worth a rewatch. 5 games, just ridiculous games as well, going absolutely down to the wire. Everyone was playing their best StarCraft 2 that week. And what gets me excited about Katowice. I know it's still not the World Championship, but it's still a big event. And people, you know, I've seen everyone on my friends list in parties, in custom games so much the last few days. The Katowice grind is very much so on. Everybody is practicing. Everybody is getting into their absolutely best shape possible. Katowice, at the moment, is looking like it's going to be an absolute blast because, like I say, it is apparent that it is coming up. If you just, like I say, just looking at my friends list, just looking at what is, you know, usually happening, etc. It's just so different. There's a different feel to it. There's a different busyness about it that we don't usually see. So it's very exciting to have that coming about. As our couple of units come around there. The Queen's getting set defensively. I'm just going to be seeing our Overlord going to get nibbled at and napped at a couple of moments by a Marine or so. Just going to push that around for a few moments as well. So Overlord gets chased over to the edges of the map. And just going to be seeing a second factory coming up alongside the Banshees. So there you go. There's something different from HeroMarine. Going to play into something a little bit mech-like. So that's kind of fun as well. As we get up and ready to go. First should be coming through. Queen's coming about. Get this all on the way. Will I be traveling that, Katowice? I have not been contacted about Katowice. As Hellions will go onto the Queen, actually going to be able to pick that off, so Queen will go down, another Queen taking a few shots of damage. It's going to be seen as Banshee continue to put some work in. The Queen's coming forward again, Banshee still taking some hits. Roach speed coming up, the additional Lings and Overlords all coming through, the Cyclones now starting to build as well, as you're starting to really see what this mech play is about. It's going to be quite a few Cyclones coming through, and I'm expecting to see Hurricane Thrusters. I'm not going to keep building Banshees, which is one of the options as well when you play this kind of Banshee mech stuff. Hellions coming over, a few Lings will continue to be chased down as well. Just going to go in for a little bit of action over there. Hellions, again, getting a couple more shots off, a few more hits coming through. As you just see our roaches getting back across here. Getting Hellions and Cyclones still working around the right side. The few Lings are going to load up and then drop a load, so a bit of harass that isn't usually seen coming across in this direction. Cyclones locking onto the Overlord. Overlord will go down. The Ravager's still pressing through to the front. Two more factories, two more armories on the way. The Lings unloading. The potential to jump into the main a bit further here is going to be apparent. Those armories both coming online. He's just going to dive straight through that. Mule about halfway done. Couple of SCVs going down. Cyclones will get onto those Zerglings. It's a lot of Roach Ravager, but this is where the Banshees are just going to get freebie shots off until the Queens drop out. We kind of need the other units to start showing up defensively, though. There's one tank getting siege. We need to protect this, but I imagine that's going to get biled down very quickly. Now you see the Queens unloading. No creep here just yet, so no transfusions currently available. Do not feel as though we have enough set up defensively as HeroMarine is. If he had a couple more siege tanks right in the right places, he could really hold this off a whole lot better. But that is the power of this from Scylla. The timing of this is set up in such a way that a tank transition has not really come through. And currently this meching army is not currently doing what you kind of needed to either. So looking as though that is going to be probably just game number one. Solo coming through full power right here with this Roach Ravager force and absolutely just not stopping at any step of the way. GG is going to be called, and that is going to be that, as you're going to be seeing Sola taking game number one of this series. So Sola opens up with a 1-0 lead in the top right-hand side. It's going to be our blue Zerg from on side. This is Sola. He takes the 1-0 lead, looking to continue his winner bracket run through this event. In the bottom left, our red Terran player, HeroMarine. Obviously, we talked a lot about the prize pool for this tournament because it's a bigger prize pool than we usually have. Shout out to Great Entertainment, the makers of Grim Dawn, for allowing us to have as much prize money as we do in this championship event this year. Obviously, 18 players enter the playoffs, which means that this being round 2 of the upper bracket, the first 4 players in round 1 get eliminated. This means you're top 14 in the competition. Top 14 means a guaranteed $300. So even if you lose out this match, lose out in your next match, it's $300 guaranteed. Every match you win from here on out is going to be a prize money increase, with the gap kind of increasing. So, you know, if you win this, you're guaranteed then to be top 10. If you're guaranteed top 10. Actually, if you win this, you're guaranteed top 10. You can still actually... So it's kind of a little bit weird, actually, because if you win this round and you go in the next round, then lose, you actually still drop into the same part of the lower bracket. It's not an ideal tournament format or playoff bracket format. I don't love it. It was just the only thing I could really make work with what I kind of wanted to do. So, winning a series here, if you win one of your next 2 series, then you get a jump up to $400, and from then you win another series, and you get more money for every series you win, to $550, to $700, and to $900, and on. It goes up and up, and the prize money just keeps on increasing. So this is the one stage where it's a bit funky, where even if you win a series, you're not guaranteed to finish higher than you would otherwise. And like I say, that's just because there was only so many ways to make this playoff bracket work, with slotting players in, seeding them into the bracket based on performance in seeding groups and stuff. Like I say, it's a little messy, it's a bit complicated. It's not my most loved format of all time, but I I love it in a certain way. Like, I love the fact that we've got players qualifying in different ways, and you benefit from having been, done well throughout the year and having extra shots and stuff. There's certain parts of it that, like that, I think are a little messy and stuff, but it's okay. There's our Reaper, and still the upper right. Couple queens coming out here from Solar. We do have a factory coming in from HeroMarine. Plays a single gas, likely to play 3cc. I wonder how much mech overall he's going to try and play. If he's going to try and play mech multiple times in this series, or if that was just a one-off. Didn't work, let's move on to the next one. Obviously, we'll figure that out as these games go by, and we actually get to see a little bit more of how everything gets set up. Okay, we're taking a few shots. Is going to end up pushed away the queen there to help push the Reaper back. Again, the orbital command and that command center all coming through. It's a little bit of everything on the go there as well. Axe is going to peel off over to this side, and it's just going to get set up for itself for a few moments. And a hatchery building on the third base, getting that up and running also. As a grenade goes down, queen gets bobbed backwards, a little bit of damage being dealt, and again, leap speed about halfway done for the moment. A couple of Hellions still coming out, the starboard still coming through. Bringing a lot of that by as our barracks lifts off the tech lab, is going to move elsewhere. And this would really be the moment where we see mech be decided upon, or very soon we'll see mech decided upon. I really don't think it's going to be mech. We do see Hellion, we do see Banshee. I'm kind of surprised if you played it a second time. I mean, Hecate is a good map for Terran. Good map for playing Bion. I can see it being a good map for mech. If you really believe in it as HeroMarine, if you're not put off by that first game, maybe this still could be within the realm of possibility. There's an extra gas in the low ground, so maybe it's a good thing I wasn't writing it off just yet, because actually, I think that gas might actually be, might actually be a big deal, huh? We might actually see mech a second time. To be fair, if you say, oh, okay, you know what, I didn't prep properly for that attack in the last game, I can do so much better than this, maybe you really are right to still believe in the mech, right? It's not like it was a game where you, like, played out, you had a good start, and it just didn't work for you. It's a very different scenario to that one, so I'd say I don't necessarily hate the idea, I guess, as we just see our Hellions and the Reaper. Going to dive into the natural and try and see a bit more of what's going on over here. They just dive through, Spore Collar gets put into place, and the Lings continue to go chasing the Hellions and the Reapers for a few moments. Just going to be seeing the Lings wrapping around one more time. Another Reaper gets picked off. And again, Roach Roaring, drones and Zerglings all continuing about for the moment. We do see a couple more of those drones having gone down. Some more damage done. As again, Cyclones and the Banshee coming through. The Cloak is still finishing. And again, just seeing ourselves a couple of extractors coming out at the same time. So a bit of everything still on the way in for the moment. We do see Hyperflight Rotors building on the side of HeroMarine. So that's something he did not go into last time. He didn't go into Banshee speed. He didn't keep building Banshees. That is a good adjustment if you're afraid of your opponent being as aggressive as he was in the last game. More Banshees would absolutely help to continue dealing damage to that Roach Ravager as it comes across the map. And then the Queens aren't as much of a shutdown on the Banshees because there was only a couple of Queens involved there. So this potentially forces Solar to play a longer version of the game rather than one where he's just going to try and drop a lot of Queens across the map and put a close on it very, very quickly. As Banshees fly past the fourth location, and we'll find at least a couple of drones in the main. They actually shoot at the Queen a couple of times, which it's fine, but obviously not too much to be gained on that. The Banshees end up pushed away over the right side. The Queens are there. Banshees taking a whole bunch more damage. As again, Hyperflight Rotors will be starting up. A few more Cyclones coming out as well. Our Roaches all in production. Plenty on the way through for the moment. And again, just Roach speed building with the Overlord speed. A single Zergling also moving around on that left-hand side was also just flitting about. Try to figure out where it wants to be. Obviously, scouting information is good. All the speed upgrades. Hyperflight Rotors, Hurricane Thrusters. The hell yeah, it's just gonna be coming about. And Banshee and a few Cyclones still coming through as well. The extra Roaches are still being added on. And our army of Solar presses through the middle of the map right now. These Cyclones going to have to pull it back a little bit. So see that Queen's turning around. Going to go after that Banshee. Banshee continues to take a few more shots. Just going to see our Roach Ravage is still pushing up. We are going to be having our Cyclones continue to go after those Ravages. One of those Ravages already taking a lot of shots. A couple more damage going down. And just continue to fight the Ravager. It will drop. It's going to be seeing the defense in general here from HeroMarine. Very convincing this time around. Completely different to what we saw before. As we do see one Banshee dropping, the other Banshee's pushed away. Station bit finishing soon. The Hydra Den still building up. Couple of Queens coming by. Infernal Pre-Igniter will start up. So it's got the Roaches, the Queens moving about a little bit. Missile turret and a couple more armories on the way out as well. Hydra Den still not too far from being done, as with missile upgrades on the way, we start to see this continuation into just kind of attack against the mech. The problem is, again, you've really invested into that earlier attack that's now being shut down completely. Resources lost, double the efficiency for HeroMarine. And while he has to play a long mech game now, he's absolutely got the starting point that he would have been looking for, so that is going to help him out a whole bunch as well. And just firing up. He's going to be seeing a couple Queens going down. The Spore Crawler taking damage. He's going to be seeing, again, a little bit more damage being done. Just going to be having our Roaches, our Hydras moving about. The tanks defensively in position as well. So again, doing decently there. And our Banshee's back on the right. Just going to be seeing the Roach Hydra still moving down to the bottom. Fire it up, and with no detection here, the Hydra is going to get shot down. More Hydra going down again, just a little bit more being dealt. Just going to see the Banshees back over the left-hand side. Cyclones still gathering up. We are going to see the Roach Hydra again coming through. Opening up rocks, but I've got to be said that HeroMarine has found, again, really good value throughout this game up until this point, so far, so good. Spire building, the Hydra still coming about here as well. Just seeing ourselves, the Hellions and the Cyclones pushing across. The Roach Hydra starting to move through the center a little bit also. Still to see the tanks firing and the Roaches getting pushed back. A couple of blasts going down. And the melee, the missiles, all of that continuing through also for the next couple of moments. So with upgrades still coming in, the Great Aspire 2, you can see that very much so Solar is putting himself in a position where he's going to feel a lot more comfortable. These Cyclones are going to get a lot of damage done. A lot of Hydras, a lot of Roaches taking a lot of hits right there. That's HeroMarine. And able to push back. Vikings and Ghosts still building. Again, we have ourselves the Hydras and the Corruptors going through too. So the Corruptors seemingly important as we do have Vikings on the way. And obviously, we're going to be trying to move into Broodlords, so you're going to need A, Corruptors to build Broods, and B, then some Corruptors probably left to help against the Vikings that are going to try and shoot at those Broodlords, so that's the combination of things that are about to happen. Golden Cloud going down, as we do have the Ghost trying to find some snipes. Oh, the Ghost just going to sit there and just snipe on away. They do not care at all. So again, just seeing that +2 missiles, our +1 melee, continuing up. Our Lings and a few more drones continue to build for now, and just seeing this army back over to the left. And side. Roaches and Hydras still dealing some damage. Still seeing our Lings charging forward as well. There's actually a couple of ghosts that do go down there. A couple of the snipes got cancelled and saved some more of the Hydras at the very end. But still overall though, in the resource loss advantage still has HeroMarine. He's getting all of the bases in the world up and available to him. This is going to be a long, grueling fight back into the game for Solar. This is not going to come quickly. This is not going to come easily. That much is absolutely almost certified already. Brutes will press forward. It's going to be seen the first tank is obviously not going to have a great time here. Thor's not ready yet, so HeroMarine maybe not perfectly ready for this Broodlord transition. Is this where Solar can actually find a lot of success for himself? Opportunity is there without any Thors available. The Vikings can do so much. Then to be fair, there's no real protection against the Vikings, so they just get to go to town. I mean, obviously Queens and Hydras can eventually target down the Vikings, which is what is happening. I mean, both players are losing a fair amount on this continued push in. And we've seen a couple more snipes coming out. The Brood's still getting chased away. The Broodlings still dropping down as well. Extra Lings showing up. Just got ourselves the army still pressing forward. Hellions will be there. The Liberators are going to siege. 7 more Hydras coming about. Plus the melee upgrades still building by also. One more Lib getting set up. Our Orbital will be under fire one more time. Still just seeing our Thor, our Hellions, our Vikings still pressing forwards. Just have ourselves Roaches and Hydras continuing about. It's going to be seen a couple snipes coming down. Broodlord's being chased. Clipper is still continuing to siege up on top of the Hydras and the Roaches and all the rest. The Queens in position too. We just see all of these Hydras still taking damage. HeroMarine is like very close to having the defense, right? But he's going to lose this location. I don't think that matters too much. That's very replaceable for HeroMarine. He has bases in many other places. It's just important that he doesn't lose so much army that he really loses control of a lot of the rest of the game. It's not like Solar has enough to, take out this space, run to the next space, take that out, then retreat, then get a big attack going. Solar is very much on the dredges of his army as well. His tech has been taken out. This is pure Roach Hydra against mech, and I don't think that honestly should be able to get the job done here. So yes, while it's close, I think it's close enough in HeroMarine's favor that he is still going to be looking okay for the moment. There's an abduct forward on that Thor, so that gets brought straight into play. Also, a couple more snipes coming down. The Viper, the Overseer taking some damage. The army still setting up all across the board. And our +1/+1 upgrades will also continue through here also, so a bit of that being brought up as Hydras and Roach is going to jump onto the orbital command once again. Seeing this force pushing forward one more time. In we go. Tank's going to take some damage. The Thor gets chased back. A few SCVs. Just still here to defend. This is where it could get messy for HeroMarine if he ends up taking this fight for a long period of time, where he isn't quite able to properly push this back, and now you're losing a couple of tanks here and a tank or so there. That's when this overall can go very wrong for you. And I feel like that is currently sort of the way that things are maybe headed. And Solar just about finding efficiency with the scraps of army that he had remaining. So let's see our SCVs. Having to be pulled in to chase down a couple of final units here as well, so they will get the cleanup. This is what I was worried about, being able to go to other bases and start denying those. This is where this game, I think, does fall apart too much so for HeroMarine. As you see, the units getting back up to the top. We get reset, +3 missiles. It's about halfway done. That army's just straight through the center. I mean, Solar's maxed out, and HeroMarine is... The thing is, it's fine to not be maxed as a mech player, because defensively he should be okay, but because he's been losing scraps here and there, I'm just not convinced he's going to have quite the tank count he needs to properly push Solar back any longer. So Solar, as you can see, with a little bit of spellcast, a Blinding Cloud, and a Adduct, helped him into this position initially. It's still not pretty for Solar. Like, it's not necessarily enough to just get the job done, He loses a lot at the end as well. That's always the issue. At the end of these fights, you don't have enough to keep going, so you want to pull away. But if you try and pull away, you just get sniped down like crazy. Corruptor's building, +3 missiles and +3 melee come through as well. That balance speed is still coming up also. Now a ghost going through, another creep team are going down. Gonna see a few Lings jumping forward as well. They're gonna go jet on top of these ghosts. Gonna turn everything else back around once again. Liberators, Hellions, and the siege tanks are still producing through. We just have ourselves again +3 missiles and the melee upgrade still coming by also. So just a bit of all of that coming through for the moment. Seven broods in production, a few Thors on the way, a couple libs coming out, Hellions are building as well. Still going through with all of this. Thor's about to finish, our Lings and Infestors, Hydras as well coming through, the Vipers also getting set up. Vehicle weapons coming through, the Thors are still building out, our Hellions are on the way as well. Well, tanks gonna unsiege, relocate a little bit. Now we've seen the Broodlord still coming through, and there's an abduct on those couple of Liberators. They're gonna get knocked down, our Broods very much so still pressing forward as well. Thors continue to come in. Again, +3 vehicle weapons. Continues out also, we come through with all of that right now. Advanced ballistics on the way. We do have again the Thors still just in production. There's more Thors coming out. Again, it's just a sturdy option in your army that also stops you from dying off to, like, you know, the Broodlords as well. They're very good against those Broods. As long as they have proper support, they can do well elsewhere too. That was a good first fungal. Now the Blinding Cloud going to stop a lot of units from just turning around and fighting as Solar looks to chase down this army. The Broodlings will get through, and all of this happens with the Broodlords being very safe. Anytime right now where you take a fight where the Broodlings and Broodlords get involved, but the Broodlords don't get shot at by Thors, is a huge win. It's a huge, huge advantage that you wouldn't typically have. Again, those ghosts are coming up. The advanced ballistics is coming through. +3 vehicle weapons continuing to build up as well. Just going to be seeing a Hellbat sitting tight, and a few more drones are going to transfer over here as well. Just going to be seeing those going down immediately. A few Zerglings still being picked away at. A couple of roaches coming across. Drones will continue through. Bane still on the way. The couple of Infestors are coming out, and again, it's our Broodlords dropping down for the moment here as our Liberators will siege up on this ramp. The Zerglings get chased away. The additional Banes are coming through also. Just going to snipe at those Broodlords again. Only one of them actually got sniped, so not a bad start. Again, the spellcasting helping Solar to propel forwards into this battle and actually begin the evacuation process with the medevacs already. This base is going to get repaired. I don't know how long we're really hoping to hold that for. Faster pops, the fungal on the go is going to cancel a bunch of the snipes one more time. That's just a consistent factor. These fungals and spellcasting have been great. Solar's never been so rich that he's just kind of like ready to, I mean, again, instantly max out is not an option for him right now, essentially. So it's important he doesn't throw too much away. This is still very much so a game that can be lost quickly if you go a little bit too overboard. And again, you don't have the full rebuild available. But right now, you've got Lings flooding forwards towards siege tanks, and that's obviously going to start looking very good for you. That's going to start looking very good indeed. Libs firing up. Just going to see the Broods getting pushed back. The Infestors, the Hydras still pressing forward. And a few more mules dropping down. The SCVs repairing up the planetary fortresses here. The base is actually still alive, which is impressive, but again, HeroMarine has lost a lot in the process here. Push through once again. Blinding Cloud will just drop down. Maybe a Thor and a Blind Cloud as well as the Hydras continue to push forward. Again, Neural Parasite coming out, Ling Hydra coming through, the extra libs are building. 4 tanks coming by, the mules are going to come through, dropping in once again. Do have this army of Solar ready to perhaps push down this ramp and get going one more time. Just going back over, a couple of SCVs already dropping again. Hydra Bane Infested comes back over the other side. This base is really the point of contention. This is where all these fights are happening. This is where everything is based around. There's Neural Parasite coming up, another bit of spellcasting that should go a long way to helping Solar out. I think he just has too much of an edge here, and I love what he's doing. With so much attention top left, suddenly he's actually diving in elsewhere and just trying to catch units on the reinforcement lines, positions where HeroMarine might not be as aware of defending. That definitely seems to be going well for him, so that's a nice catch for sure. Let's just see how Hydra's continuing through that orbital command, still taking some shots. Still in production, just going to be having now Ling Hydra continuing to battle away. And it does look as though Solar is... I feel like there was obviously a point in this game early where we liked it a lot for HeroMarine, but Solar has, in my mind, done enough throughout. Now, it's still close, right? Like, the army supplies are still very similar. You can still lose a fight here as Solar, and he does have all the bases in the world, but he doesn't have a bank built up. So there's still a little bit of caution to be applied in this scenario. You can't just go fully sending it across the map or anything. So a little scary in that regard, I guess. Let's just see again, Liberators and Hellions joining up. The Hydras are going to come knock at this set of rocks. The Lings will try and break through here as well. So those rocks get opened up, and again, Liberators and tanks continue through. Army of Solar back into the middle, just for the moment as well. As again, more Banes and Lings continue on and around for the moment as we continue by. It's going to jump on this planetary fortress with the SCVs getting busted down as well. We don't have a lot of SCVs remaining as HeroMarine. He's only got 26 in the game after that bust, so you can imagine every single time SCVs are being blown up, it's going to be a cause for concern here for our Terran player. It's been a valiant continued defense, but I think in the end, Solar just taking a bit too much control, and I guess my concerns of mech have come true again, which is in an elongated game, it feels so difficult to make mech just work out. But I suddenly look at Solar's supply, and his army supply has dropped off as I'm given a death speech. Maybe HeroMarine is actually going to be okay. Solar is still only building Lingbane Hydra. His spellcaster numbers have run low. And seemingly the rebuild here from HeroMarine is looking good, being able to keep on rebuilding some mules even though he's had less bases. He's actually kind of doing it right now. He is still making this happen. Resources lost is about a 12k difference, which I wouldn't say is egregious for the kind of game that we've had. Well, guys, I will put my hand in the air and admit my wrongdoing. Maybe I should not have doubted. HeroMarine, I didn't like it for HeroMarine, I'm not going to lie. That was a horrible freaking call. Man, I started my thought process. I didn't like it for HeroMarine. I look back and I'm like, well, how does HeroMarine lose the game? That's impressive. I guess that is what you can do with mech, right? You can consistently push back the attacks and not quite fully die. Like, if you don't quite, that sounds weird, but if you don't fully die, you'll still find efficiency, and maybe with a bit of harass as well, then Solar runs into trouble. And Solar has not mined comfortably for the last few moments. He's had bases being denied a little bit as well, so he's definitely been running into struggles. So yeah, the damage done from HeroMarine, the harassment that I've maybe swept aside a little bit too much, is actually perhaps very good. Going to see how that goes. The Thor pressing forward as well. Just going to keep on coming through with this as we do have our Viper. Ooh, did we just dodge that EMP? Yes, we did. The Viper still has energy. I mean, Solar now going to scrap together a defense once again. He's going to lose this top base. That doesn't mean his bottom bases are still mining fairly comfortably during this, however. So that part at least is okay for Solar, as we do have Gabe just about holding through. Army settles. Again, the Hellbats, and then goes relocate the planetary fortress in the front. Sets up once again as well. And just seeing ourselves with Liberator's denying mining again. The harassment from HeroMarine has got to be one of the reasons why this has come out to work out for him. Solar was, again, never maybe on one massive bank. And so by denying the economies and by denying some of the mining, Solar's reliance on kind of income as it happens was disrupted just before he was able to kind of close out. HeroMarine, with the control he's getting, is establishing a base on the 12 o'clock as well, so maybe one of the bigger concerns that can HeroMarine mine long enough if Solar eventually mines enough. Well, I think that's been resolved by the base top left, and Solar probably has to go and fight that. Problem is if you go and fight that and it doesn't go well for you, then that's probably just game. You know, the last thing you want to Solar is to essentially be forced into a fight. You want to pick your fight. Like I say, that might just so very much so be a case where he is just going to be forced into an answer rather than anything else. And coming down to the last couple of bases, Solar still fighting to try and mine off the 6 o'clock. HeroMarine making sure not let that happen. That's why I think it's important Solar is up over here and trying to deny this location. There's a siege tank. This is only an orbital, so there's a couple of tanks. There's an orbital. The tanks will go down. I mean, that's obviously not a bad trade for Solar. Gonna get the Liberator now as well, and these SCVs will start to drop, so HeroMarine is gonna lose what is the majority of his remaining SCVs. He has 10 workers left as those go down. Solar is still losing the base on the 6 o'clock as well. In the meanwhile, we take a few moments to settle again, and I mean, it just is HeroMarine's army that is so much bigger. 95 to 55 army supply. But moments like this will help as we do drop a fungal. We're going to grab a couple tanks, a ghost. That wasn't completely free, but this helps as well. And I tell you what, the helipads don't necessarily do too much in these scenarios either. Another huge fungal stops the snipes by abducting ghosts into Zerglings of all things as well. That is not usually the way that these battles go. Well, Solar still loses everything in the end. It's still 54 to 21 army supply. I gotta say, Solar really gave it everything he could in that fight. There's just not quite enough to make a difference in the end. There's a couple of broods, the extra Zerglings all still coming around. More Vikings coming in as we just have ourselves the Liberator continue to snip and snap away. Had a bunch of those drones. A few Vikings still coming out also. Hyde is still in production. Again, our Hellbats will get to roll on this base. We've been working on this base for a long time. If HeroMarine can knock down this base and then obviously take it for himself, that's great. I don't think the game would come down to that, honestly. I think Solar's just going to run out of units long before that would even be a factor. As right now, he has really nothing left at all. 50 supply each, 30 minutes into the game. HeroMarine ties the series. The mech makes it happen. I really believe lead happens, the mech lead is there, and then the mech lead seems to mean absolutely nothing, you know? As in the bottom left-hand side, our blue Zerg player is going to be Solar. And again, so far, 2 mech games in a row, winning the last one in impeccable fashion. It is HeroMarine, Big Gabe, as we get this all started up for game number 3 of the best of 5 here in this round 2 of the playoffs. Loser will drop down to the lower bracket. Winner will get to move on. Dark waits in the next round of this tournament as well, so that's not exactly going to be easy. But winnable. If HeroMarine takes out Solar, I could believe in him beating Dark. And if Solar takes out HeroMarine, well, we know Solar's ZvT can be dangerous for sure as well. Hatchgasm Pool is going to be seeing that set up fairly standard to begin with. As yeah, what's up, Kua Barra the man? Thank you so much for the 9-month resub. 8 in a row. Getting ready for the sub, baby. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support. Fan Center goes down. It has been just triple CC so far from Gabe. Hasn't really gone super aggressive. Solaris is a smaller map. Maybe this is a map where if there is a time to drop a second gas down and to expand later, this may be his timing. I'm not really convinced he would go for that, but like I say, if there is a map he wants to do it on, this might be it. Again, good few games still to come today, guys. After HeroMarine Solo, we'll be heading live into Nightmare vs. Beyond. The winner of that plays against Shin. And all of this is setting up for our matches tomorrow with Hero and others away. And we also have Critter Wayne and Showtime to play today as well. So, again, plenty happening. Loads of StarCraft happening. The schedule's a little all over the place just because I'm trying to play to the timing of the players and to play whenever they can. And again, that link speed comes through. A couple more drones coming about. And that queen's still building as well. Maybe gets back to the center. As a single overlord having a bit of a peek in. And there we are with the second gas as well. So, mentioned that this may be the map you mix it up on a little bit. You do go second gas instead of just playing the triple CC. And HeroMarine's going to agree that this is maybe not a bad time to take that opportunity and to play with it. Again, the speed just going to come up. Been on the way, lag coming through. Obviously, it's going to be Banshees once again from HeroMarine. He's Bansheed every single game thus far. Do you see any Cyclones quickly? No, it's going to be Hellions again out the factory. Just wonder if maybe we see like a couple of Cyclones added in at any point and just go very aggressive with those with the Banshees early, rather than building into like Cyclones a bit later. Still going to see a fairly quick third CC. That shouldn't be too surprising, right? As you do see Solo, though, going to be doing something much more surprising. That fast lair has a reason behind it. Fast lair, one gas. Very typical signs of the Nidus network. And so it is the Nidus network that comes into play here from Solo immediately. And he's going to look to deal damage and look to kill HeroMarine quickly. Very different vibe of game compared to that game number 2 we just saw. Will he succeed? That's an even more fantastic question. You know, getting in and getting a few SCVs already puts you in a good setup, right? Like, puts you in the right sort of spot to perhaps succeed here, to give you a chance of seeing some successes, as we do have the Hellions in position. You're just going to pick off a drone. They're going to continue over towards the natural as well. Off they go. Banshee's still firing. A few more lings get popped out. Here comes the Nidus, popping a few queens out as well. Queen's just going to be there. SCV taking damage. Lings are going to jump on towards some of those depots as well. As we do have the Cyclones and the Banshees still coming out. The Banshees continue to work onto those Zerglings. Hellions are there again, getting some damage dealt. SCV's going down, and again the Banshee's going to get into action one more time. The Queens get back over toward that Nidus. And, well, I mean, HeroMarine so far, I feel like he's keeping this fairly safe. For me, Solo has not done enough, and again, because we can build Cyclones with 2 factories, I feel like generally Cyclones are so good defensively against attacks like this, and we're starting to see that right now. Obviously, Lings don't hit like they used to. We've got plenty of Hellions to help against the Lings too. The Banshees are just good damage against this. Everything about this is good for HeroMarine. This defense is looking absolutely awesome right now. And I think it's fair to say that this looks as though HeroMarine is going to be taking a big lead in this game 3, as Solar is now going to try and build drones. He's now going to try and build the roach drone, but there's a very realistic chance that Solar is going to end up in a very difficult to play position, as those couple creep tumors would be nice to get rid of, as we do have the scan. There we go. Because now HeroMarine can apply a whole bunch of pressure back on the other side of the map. He should be able to get a lot done here, so expecting that to be a factor. We do get these creep tumors before we actually need the scan as well, which is a great little addition as well. Hyperflight rotors coming in one more time. I'm just going to be seeing a couple more refineries coming up. Zergling going down. Amplified rotors coming up. A few Hellions coming in. Cyclones around the top again. Overlord speed. The roach speed coming through. The Evo chamber and an infestation pit continue to come about right now. And there we have on our hatchery. Going to be getting cancelled up at the front there. More of those units going around the top side as well. And just going to come through. Cyclones getting the lock on. Making their way through these couple of queens for the moment. Like I say, with the damage not really done from Solar, this is where HeroMarine can apply a lot of pressure, really succeed. He's defending well at home. He's only 4 workers behind, which is brilliant for a Terran that has triple orbital, dropping mules. And again, HeroMarine continues to lean upon the mech style for some success right now, and he is absolutely finding it at the moment. Hellions continue to fight. The Zerglings are being taken out. Again, more Cyclones coming through. The Infestors are building. Overlords and a missile upgrade coming out, as well as our Banshees make their way into the main base. I'm gonna go find a few of those drones. Spectre goes down. The Banshees continue to escape away. We're still pushing at the front, by the way, with other units. The Cyclone's still trying to get involved. Well, fungal growth, as we have snuck in a couple of Infestors. Nice way for Solar to be able to maybe get a catch. If you can get a big fungal on a group of Cyclones and get the roaches in range and kill them all off, suddenly you're removing the efficiency of that mech army, and suddenly you're going to be able to have a much better time of things. Maybe even put yourself into a game-winning position from what has been an ugly spot. I think that would be the road to, the easiest road forward here from Solar, right? There's obviously other ways you can keep on defending, probably grind this game out in a much slower manner. But that would probably be the easiest way to get it done, as we do catch a couple of Cyclones here. The Banshees up in the main base, still a problem, especially when you've only really had these Queens as defense. The Hydras coming out will help, but you're going to need to make sure that those Hydras are going to be all collected together. And you see the Cyclones there to push the Roaches back once again. The Hellions, the Cyclones, and the Banshees will go back across. The Banshees going to fly over, looking to try and intercept those Infestors. This is actually a big part of what these Banshees can do. They get across here, Infestors start going down. Bet you have to stop to fight the Hydras as well, though. I actually thought I was going to be a lot more dead Infestors, if I'm honest. That really wasn't as bad as I thought it should be. Cyclones defensively still doing okay. If nothing else, this game is going to, mirror the previous game in a pretty big way of Solar is never quite on the fully perfect setup, right? He's never going to be overly rich. He's never going to be overly, it's just not the kind of leads you usually get against a mech player who usually has to play quite passively and slowly, so you get a lot of drones, you get all the bases. Solar's not going to have those usual advantages, so it's definitely going to play in a bit of a funky manner. Cyclones relocate, going to go back to the front lines, and as we move through the acceleration zone there, the Roach Hydra will be coming about, knocking down a set of rocks. While we continue to come through, just going to be seeing our Cyclones still set up. Tanks and Hellions continue through. The Ghost on the way, +1 vehicle weapons also producing. Still seeing our Cyclones of HeroMarine set out the frontier for the moment. Roach is coming through, and SCV gets nipped at. Well, missile turrets coming about, the siege tanks all producing through as well, so a bit of everything being brought in there. The army of HeroMarine gets back up to the top. Solar continues around the south, where he looks to relocate a little bit himself, but not going to find any real particular kind of position to attack into. The Baneling Nest comes up, the Hydra Dens are still building, the Adrenal Glands on the way. Again, Solar getting a bit of everything going, but again, it's all very late, it's all much slower than it would usually be. That is the continued problem for him here at this point in time. As the Hellions come back over, they're going to find themselves a Hydra or so. The Roach is still coming across, still trying to fight as well. Tommy gets back to the top, and again, Hellions are going to turn back onto some of this Roach Hydra. The Roaches and Hydra are still going to be there. Hellions taking a lot of damage. And she's continuing back along the other direction now. Solar comes through the middle of the map as well. Just going to be seeing the Cyclones, Banshees, and tanks all pressing through. These roaches already going to take some shots also. Some damage dealt there one more time. Again, plenty more lings. And about for the moment is just roaches, hydras, vipers, getting anti-armor missile off of the Raven, so that's going to be a little bit of a factor too. That's going to make things just take a little bit extra damage. We try and protect this forward base as HeroMarine. Was he to lose this base, I wouldn't really be all that worried for him either. 84 SCVs to 76 drones at the moment. Solar up a little bit of army supply, but again, HeroMarine's just got such a good economy all the way throughout this game. He's had that eco lead. He's really been able to maintain that. And again, I think that's going to be one of the big reasons why he continues to see a fair amount of success. As our Cyclones just press up, pressing in, Hydras and Ravages taking damage. We do see our Spire coming through as well. The Command Center lifts off. The Cyclones pressing through, especially now as the anti-armor missile strikes. Well, we're going to be seeing more of these Zerglings getting knocked down. The Ghosts are still retreating backwards. A couple of snipes coming down, and we just have ourselves this army still chasing through, so away we go. Damage continues to be done. Just going to have ourselves a few SCVs having dropped, but overall, HeroMarine maintained that slight supply lead and is still keeping himself in a great place. Now, Solo's going to try a little bit of a Broodlord transition, so we'll see how much success he can find off of it, but it's going to still need the Greater Spire to finish, and I feel like this game, I mean, especially if these Banshees can spot this Greater Spire in a moment moving forwards. Do they see it?
Mutation.
Oh, they didn't see the Greater Spire. That would have been a huge scout, because knowing that the Greater Spire is coming in would have been absolutely massive. Because now, because then you just start building some Thors, then you're just naturally defending against those broods ahead of time, and a few Thors introduced to this stage are maybe not ideal against the ground army, but they're not bad against the ground army, and especially not bad if the Brood Lords have been dealt with as well, so here we go once more again. The attack from Solar, he continues to throw his units at HeroMarine, really wanting to just cause chaos to the point where maybe the mech force cannot recover. And we saw that be kind of the idea last time as well. Just keep the mech force back, keep on trading, keep finding just scraps of units here and there to find yourself the efficiency that you need to continue through. Well, that's the Ghosts, the Hellions still pressing up. The Raven is going to get fungled as well. Again, fungals are allowing Solo to find some of the better fights overall in this game. And in this series in general, we've seen a few good fungals that have allowed him to obviously create engagements. The later this game goes, the more important those fungals are, because you need to shut down the Ghosts. You need to stop some of those snipes. If you're not stopping any snipes, then yes, you're going to probably be in a continued pretty bad position. The Thors and the Liberator still building up as well. A couple of additional missile turrets coming through. The Engineering Bay is going to produce on in also. And again, Lings, Broods, and Infestors just building by for now. As a couple more upgrades come by. +3 missiles, +2 melee, the Burrow. I like the Burrow as well. Obviously, again, very useful tool for the later stages of this game. Neuroparasite also has a big role to play potentially. Again, spellcasters really are going to be the title of this next paragraph of StarCraft action. That spellcasting can be good from Solo. There is absolutely still a chance he takes good enough fights that he can win this out. Especially the way mech works. If Solo attacks in, and on HeroMarine's side of the map is able to take a fight that HeroMarine can't immediately recover from, that's where Solo gains a lot of momentum, because mech takes a lot of time to rebuild. So if you're taking a lot of time to rebuild, a lot of time to reset, and Solo's already on your side of the map, then you're going to be in some trouble. That's a massive fungal growth on those Ghosts. That's a huge follow-up fungal as well, locking them in place even longer. Some of the Balin's got to connect there. Some of the starting spellcasting that we need to see if Solo wants to close this game number 3 out in his favor. Pause back for a moment or two just now. Again, advanced ballistics coming up. The cloaking coming in. The Liberators are still building. The steel plating still coming by. Thanks to that, just going to push everything back. The Broodlords will come through. Big push in just for the moment. In we go. again, let's see if Solar can do enough. HeroMarine's supply does drop rather heavily, but as long as he keeps Solar from continuing to push through, the end of these fights typically end up very favorable for the Terran because of all the snipes and all the leftover units do generally just trade better. You can see Solar's supply has now come crashing down. His rebuild is going to be with a group of Zerglings, a handful of Hydras. That is going to become our next step here. Let's just see a little scan coming out. We'll look to see what's going on there. Again, the extra Bane's coming up. The Hydra's still continuing through. Really have one hell of a series on our hands here between HeroMarine and Solar. Solar trying to break through this meching play of HeroMarine, but so far unsuccessful. When it comes to the later stages, it's the early games where he's found success. Especially in that Game 1. In Game 3, he was obviously held back with the attempted Nidus attack. Before Thors, Hellions, and the Liberators still coming up, plus 3 vehicle weapons and plane on the way. 1 attack upgrades on the infantry, which means that the Ghosts are going to get some upgrades too. The Ghost being upgraded is actually kind of important because if Ghosts are left standing against Lings, having the Ghosts able to stand up for themselves and fight back against those Lings is a big deal, because the Ghosts don't just stand up for themselves, they absolutely shred Lings. So it really is just an additional answer to what is a lot of the lower tech units that are likely to be left at the ends of these fights. Liberator will siege up, and Infestor gets chased away. We're just getting pushed back. A couple Liberator shots are there. We still have ourselves the 1-1 upgrades coming through from HeroMarine as well, so that 1-1 on the way, plus 3 vehicle weapons and plating coming by, siege tanks in production. And this army of HeroMarine just relocating as we do see Solar trying to hit elsewhere, but units in position immediately. These Lings will not run by to any amount of success. Scanning out, Lingbane Hydra is going to come pushing through. A couple of Abducts going to come by as well. The EMP's coming out is going to hit an Infestor, so Infestor will take a few shots there too. As again, the plus 3 vehicle playing about to finish. The extra siege tanks are coming in. Ling's going to go diving by onto a couple more tanks as well, just picking those off as our army of Solar finds herself between a couple of forces, quite frankly. There's a couple of units from HeroMarine from the left side, bottom left side as well, which end up in a bit of a weird spot. In the end, Solar's just going to be losing too much. He's kind of cornered in. He has no good place to go fight. HeroMarine will take the lead of this best of 5. In the bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran player. This is HeroMarine, up 2-1 in this best of 5 against a Solar who has not found enough damage early after game number 1 to stop the mech play, and that is becoming the storyline of this series. I'll sign any big map. See if Solar can utilize it. Should Solar have just sat back and mined more? I think the problem is if Solar doesn't do anything, then you actually see HeroMarine take advantage and move onto the map. The whole idea for Solar is he doesn't want to have to fight the mech army when it's all consolidated in one place and he has to take a fight with the pre-siege set up and he must fight in. He's trying to fight to the top, to the bottom, here, there. Like, he's trying to take different fights, forcing the Terran army to spread out and to try and pinpoint a weakness in that Terran army. So, yeah, he could sit back and maybe try and build up, but the problem is if you do that, then, like I say, the Terran is going to start moving around and fighting in ways you don't want to fight. And it's also kind of weird because the setup that Solar has, he's not really set to play the super ultimate, I'm just going to camp out late game. So he's in this weird position where he's almost forced to keep on fighting, because his composition isn't quite correct either. Now, again, if he slows down, maybe he can get into that better composition, but I'm not sure that's ever going to, like I say, be what Solar really wants to do. Because again, I feel like he's going to have trouble transitioning into the super late stage of the game and splitting the map. Because I think HeroMarine has enough army of his own to come across and again be aggressive there. So it's a lot of assumptions based on what might happen if Solar had done otherwise. But that's what it gets to at this sort of level of play. These guys understand what is likely to happen, what moves are likely to be made, and if they can deal with them or not. And so that instigates them to play in different ways in the build up to that point. Obviously, HeroMarine doesn't need to deny bases either, as Solar is throwing his units at him, because then HeroMarine is also taking efficient trades. So again, if Solar is not going to throw units at HeroMarine and not trade inefficiently, then HeroMarine is like, okay, now I actually do need to go and deny bases. So like I say, that's why, that's on Gabe's thought process. That's why Gabe will instigate fights at that stage. That's why he's suddenly going to be like, yep, I need to go instead of sitting back. So, again, you get into the inner details, the inner depths of kind of DVZ strategy at that point. As our Reaper will come around and nab at a couple of different Zerglings. When will be Beyond? I'm going to assume that the Beyond Nightmare matchup will probably start when this matchup ends. Just at a guess. As our Reaper will nibble at the hatchery. More drones coming out. Link speed is on the way. Orbital Commander, starboard building, command center coming through for a third CC. Obviously, HeroMarine did play double gas last time. This was really not the game for Solar to play a Nidus. I mean, HeroMarine was really set up with all of the possible defenses he could have had. That Nidus initially really didn't do Solar anything, and again, he was just already put behind from that opening position. And while you're able to get into the later stages, because mech isn't going to come across the map and kill you straight away, it's still not a fun position to be trying to play out of. It's still not a fun position to be, like I say, very much so in that scenario, stuck in. So, definitely a factor there. As a couple of Hellions continue to build, the link speed's still coming up. Queens and drones all coming through in this game number 4. Hellions to Reaper, back around the top. Still seeing that link speed coming about for a couple of moments. Getting that already. We have our Hellions and the Reaper turned around by a Queen, so a little bit more damage coming out over there as well. This Hellions and the Reaper going to push up once again. Queen will already take some damage. And as we get onto the high ground, onto the edge of creep, a little grenade goes down. The Queen's just going to back away for the moment. Still seeing the lair building up, additional Zerglings coming through, Hellions and Cloaking continue to produce. HeroMarine will come around the right-hand side. Maybe a thought of pushing up towards the high ground here. King Cloak still building, now lair coming through, over halfway done. And a couple of other Queens coming around as well. Marine's going to fight. Overlord will take some damage. We do have the factory. And again, coming up, we are going to be seeing more mech from HeroMarine. Looks like he's just going to lock into the mech for the entirety of this series, so really just bringing this mech play. You know what? I'm kind of excited if HeroMarine wins this, because if HeroMarine wins this and then he plays against Dark with a set of mech games, it'll be exciting. You know, like, if he just tries to play mech against Dark, it'll be fun to see what Dark tries to do differently to Solar to try and take advantage of that. Obviously, HeroMarine is just one map away from setting up to play against Dark tomorrow in the WardiTV 2023 Championship. Hyperfly Rotor still coming through, the additional Cyclones building from HeroMarine. As the first Banshees find their way to the back of the Natural, and that's where they do get their first picks on a couple of different drones, so able to succeed with those. And now jumping onto a Queen as well. Very nearly getting that Queen kill. If the opportunity presents, you should fire at that one more time, but Transfusion came in. The Banshees are running low on HP, also low on energy, so getting out of range of spores, etc. are no longer going to be a solution. If you're low in energy, you'll be on cloaking. So we back away from that for the moment. 5 drones have gone down. Still got that Hyperfly Rotors coming up, about halfway done. Couple more Cyclones being made. As we get all of this still coming through. Army settles down and regathers once again. A couple factories are still coming up also. Again, just seeing our Hellions fighting a little bit. Queen gonna come about. Get some damage. A couple of creep tumors coming through. This is where HeroMarine's already applying this good pressure. Obviously this time, Solar He's not going to do too much early. He's just going to kind of let this happen and tech up himself, play into as strong a position as he can. He's saying, I don't think I can kill you early. Let's play this map with a lot of bases, a lot of positions. Let's just kind of go into the best, be in the best place I can be early on without dealing damage to you. Let's just macro up and see how the mech handles my macro style. Like I say, without any quirks or interests too much earlier. Slings and roaches come back over the far right side, so we are going to be having the fourth game of mech of this series. Fully setting up, siege tanks are already on the way as well, so we're already making that transition through to that safer, more stabilized army. So all of that comes in. Rolling roach starting to move out. Queens as well will begin to take some position out onto the map here. There's the Cyclones and the Hellions are going to be there to push away the Ling Roach Queen as well. And a couple more siege tanks on the way through, and Infernal Igniter coming up as well. Going to be having ourselves the +1 vehicle weapons and playing. Continue to build, the siege tanks continue out. And the aliens continue forward as well. A couple of creep teamers and some roaches there will begin to get knocked away at. And Banshees up to the top side. Going to be seeing themselves moving around as well. +2 melee, +2 missiles. Continue to produce adrenal glands on the way. All of that getting set as Ling Roach will also try and make something happen for a couple of moments. Oh, the Infester. Oh, beautiful play. Infester unburrows, pops the fungal. The Lings get the wrap around to stop the retreat, and we kill off all of those Cyclones. That is the weakness of those Cyclones. The moment something comes in to remove their mobility, they are terrible. It's very rare something can lock their mobility down like that, but that was a perfect example of it. Usually a surround you can get away from because you can micro that in your own regard. You can, control that yourself unless you mess up, but the fungal locking them in place, allowing the surround to happen. And like I say, that's a great cleanup. Very, very well done there. Libs and Thors continue to come around. We just have ourselves the Roach Ling. We'll go back onto this set of rocks, opening up this position. Brit Spire still coming through. 18 additional Banelings in production, +2 missiles and melee on the way out. And a couple more missile turrets coming through as well here from HeroMarine, so those continue into play as well. With the Ling Ravager Roach pushing at the front door. Rocks will be knocked away at. The army still from Solar continuing to move on through. And again, our fusion core is building from HeroMarine, so Ranged Liberator is most likely the go-to right there as he continues to look to play just very defensively. Now, our Alcyone has a lot of bases for Zerg. There's a lot of defensive setups for the Terran. Every base is that kind of very narrow choke point in. You can really survive on these very defendable bases for a long time. As you see the attempt here from Solar coming through, Banes is crashing into a whole bunch of different, tanks. Now the Banes are going to find a bunch of these SCVs on the bottom side, and that is going to be Solar taking a bit of a better fight. Still has Ling Ravager left to play. He is going to go after those Thors. He clearly believes he can continue to fight here, and any units he's getting rid of right now feels very valuable, especially Thor's big supply chunks going down there. And this was a fight that actually, from until the very end, actually was really good for Solar. 12 roaches still building up, the +3 missiles and melee coming through also. One Liberator will siege out over to the bottom side. Couple Thors still coming through, the Medivacs and Hellions in production. Game just slows for a few moments. We're going to see the Banshee showing up. They will find a few drones as well, so a few more workers being picked away at here. It's going to be going after this main base over on this side, and one more Banshee gets knocked down. That's 6 drones now being killed. Just going to be seeing the Banshee still being put to work. 7 workers going down. Just keeps on adding up. There we go. There's a couple of blind clouds coming down once again. Just going to be firing those through. The Banes are going to come over as well. Crashing in. A few of these SCVs are being picked off. Again, plenty of ghosts still coming about. The siege tanks as well. Hellions also being produced. As the jump in from Solar looking good. The previous fight was very good, and that's going to lead him to the momentum to continue in for this one. Again, another round of SCVs dropped, and every time you're dropping SCVs, it's making it much more difficult for HeroMarine to recover, because it means that he is unable to, again, just rebuild back up the mech force needed to survive the next wave, and then to survive the wave after that. And SCVs every time really has a big role to play in what I think will be a successful game here from Solar, looking to tie this match up. Twos apiece. HeroMarine finds the GG keys, and is going to tap out of this one. We are going the full distance in this best of 5. Our playoffs going to start delivering. We had a 3-0, a 3-0. As we have in the bottom right, our blue Zerg from onside. This is Solar. In the upper left, our red Terran is going to be HeroMarine. Fifth final game of this series. After this, Nightmare versus Beyond, the winner versus Shin will be on the go as well, so that will also be continuing through. So I continue through with all of that right now. Just set up and ready to party. See where this game 5 is going to take us. And again, an Overlord just on a little bit of a cruise. Seeing what's up, seeing what's happening. Yep, this one right here. The journey across the map is... Obviously, do we see HeroMarine play mech every game? Honestly, I think so. At this point, right, you've played 4 games. 5th map is Golden Aura. Unless you really think Solar's got you figured out, has got you kind of shut down, then yes, I think this is absolutely just something you have to... I think you absolutely just send it one more time. And has Solar gone figured out? It looked better in that last game, obviously, but it's been a long series, right? So I feel like that really comes down to HeroMarine. If you can say, okay, well, what went wrong there? Can I adjust to not let that happen again? That would be very important right now, so... We will see as a couple of additional queens and a few Zerglings are on the way out, the hatchery, the extractor on the way in. It was CC first from HeroMarine, taking advantage of the big map to go into that, and he will get the double orbital on the way immediately as well, so we start that off as well. Just mixing it up game by game for the moment. Nibble at that Overlord, it gets pushed off to the sides. Again, the factory's still coming through. Let's just bring that up momentarily. Zerglin's going to continue forward as well. Head up toward this main base. Where we're going to continue to chase down an SCV and a Marine. Factory lifts off again, going to move on to that reactor, so on over we go. 2 SCVs will continue to come through also. We just have ourselves the couple queens, the few drones, all of this being built up for the moment. Here in this game number 5, single lane continues by, a couple of the SCVs still getting picked away at. So we go back and forth on that. As again, Hellions and the Starport all continuing through for the moment. So far, so good. Queens all over the shop right now, and again a couple more Cyclones still coming out. Our Starport is on the way as well from HeroMarine, so we continue to bring that up right here. Italian still coming out, and again CC coming down. Cyclone's going to pull up. We're going to go after the Overlord. It's been Banshees every game as well. This is still very akin to what we've seen game by game so far. There is the extra factory. Mech all 5 games. And obviously, clearly, he'll play very well with the mech as well. So far. Yeah, Queens firing a few shots off on Hellions and a couple of Cyclones, pushing those around. The Lair is coming up. Extra spores coming through as well. The Hellions trying to push on towards that hatchery. Bit of damage being dealt over there. It's going to be seen the Lair finishing shortly. The extra drones are coming through. And Cyclones cloaking, etc. Coming in also. Just for now as our Zerglings continue to the upper left. Again, Hellions push the Lings back over to that right. Again, Banshees will come up with the Cyclones, with the Hyperflight Rotors. We do scan. We just see our Queens coming together at the moment. The Spire quickly from Solar is a different way of playing this that we've not really seen him delve into just yet, right? So, obviously this will help him against the Hyperfly Rotor Banshees because the Mutas can then chase those down a little bit and stop those from being a continued annoyance throughout the game. So, it's definitely something of a factor immediately to look at in that regard. Like I say, options definitely available here as we get set up. Just going to be seeing the Cyclones going to come join up over toward those Hellions as well. The units all gathering into the middle of the map for the moment. And again, just seeing ourselves, the Roaches, the Spire, continue to build. The thing is, Mutas are not exactly ideal against Cyclones either in this day and age, so you're going to need something to push the Cyclones back also. I don't think you can go like fully Mutas here. I think you have to have, you know, some amount of Roaches with them. And HeroMarine already pressuring forward. Scary moment from Solar because a lot of what he's setting up into isn't completely ready to go just yet. As Queen's taking a bit more damage, the Lings start to run across as well. Still just seeing Mutas and Roaches being brought up. The Roach speed still being set. The Banshees are going to deliver some shots onto this hatchery. Some of those Banshees just going to get chased out of here. You have a couple of armories still coming through also. Cyclones lock on, the Overlord will start to go down. A couple of those creep teamers are going to get knocked away at as well. Still some Roaches and Lings pressing forwards. The Queen's coming up. The Cyclones will continue to kite back. A lot of these Lings go down. We've got the Mutas arriving onto the natural expansion, so this is going to be where we see whether HeroMarine or not can deal with those Mutalisks. As we have a couple of Cyclones immediately going to start helping out there. I honestly just think that these Cyclones kind of shut this down. 6 SCVs to me is not really enough to be okay with this. I mean, Solar is droning heavily behind it, but I feel like these Mutas have not really been worth their investment at all. 7 SCVs. We're already down to just, well, 7 Mutas remain. Yeah, you only lost 1, which I feel like is impressive in itself. The bigger challenge right now might be if you feel like you need to build Cyclones against those Mutas, maybe then you don't have as much to deal with the Roaches, as the Cyclones there are tucked behind the mineral line, so they're a little bit stuck. And so that might actually create more of a problem than anything else. Now the Mutas might be able to come back through as well. Cyclones actually do prioritize Mutas nowadays as well, so that's also a buff that the Cyclones had at some stage. So the Mutas become easily targetable. Solar will have to back off. Supply looks good for Solar, but it's mostly just Roaches. Again, attack the Mutas there. Completely gone. They're out the window. He deals some eco damage too. 63 SCVs to 82 current drones. Solar trying to get a hive, a Bane Nest, melee and missile upgrades. Again, because he went for the Spire and all the investment into those Mutas, he just hasn't had a lot of these upgrades coming through so far. Tanks coming back over. Queen will be shot at. Infest is still coming out. The Bane Nest coming through. Hatch and the Hive building up as well. And a few more drones being brought into play. +1 missiles and melee continuing to produce. As our Overlord speed is also coming by for the moment. What a weird game. Just to see the Mutas be so unsuccessful. Obviously now HeroMarine, he's going to... Have still been in a bit of a weird spot. Like, the roaches did do alright. Cyclones will move forward. I don't know if there's enough Cyclones to really run in, and again, with that amount of lings, you've got to be careful of the wraparound possibility as well, so you don't just want to run straight into trouble in that regard. Move back up the left-hand side. And away we go. A few Banelin's going to morph in as well, straight away here. We have Solar pulls back. There's going to be seeing a few of those Banelings coming out too. There's a few Banelings come through. It's going to be seeing that Credit Spy is still kicking in. Pipe is in production. All for the moment. Drill Gland also producing. Does that manage to deliver a couple of shots? Interling. Again, Ling Bane Roach Ravager back around the edges. Trying to figure out what we can do here as a couple more Vikings will start as well. Plenty of CCs on the way. Let's just have the 2-2 upgrades, the mech upgrades continue by as well. A couple of Vikings continue, and also just seeing how that turrets will set up. Our CCs coming in. This game will slow down a lot from HeroMarine. He will just chill this out all at the moment. Got this all settled. Really nice start. The Magic Cat caught an Infestor very quickly. I don't think Solar has enough at all to deal with this. I mean, he's going to rebuild 15 Corruptors, 15 more Zerglings. But this wasn't a pretty fight. This felt like a... Almost like, I guess Solar wanted to get rid of some units to build the Corruptors, but... Yeah, he's going to have to heavily rely on this Broodlord switch for himself, and... Not sure that's going to be something which is easily found, easily handled at all. Perhaps the Broodlords will have some chances then. Like I say, that's really going to be your kind of hope right now. There's going to be a lot of Ghosts, not a lot of Vikings / Cyclones, not a lot of other anti-air really available is what I'm getting at. Around the right side, going to actually catch a couple of the Ghosts right there. It's almost always going to be decent, and now a couple of Banes make it to the mineral line. If Banes are in the mineral line, that's always going to be scary also. 9 Broodlords morphing in, so you're keeping HeroMarine kind of busy. You're keeping him from building the answer to these Broodlords. You're stopping him from wanting to build Thors for as long as possible. You're just making him feel like he wants to build everything else right now. Now the Broodlords show up. Immediately a Thor starts in production. And that's why Solar's still trying to be aggressive again. Just keep these Thors from being built as long as he could. And this first push in with Broods, catching HeroMarine a little off guard currently. Not able to get the Ghosts into play. Planning Cloud's going to try and keep things back. Obviously, if we can get some Fungals on those Ghosts, that would be a huge deal. We've talked about that plenty of times in this series so far. Don't believe there's any Infestors available here as the Bane's going to try and find the Ghost. I saw split in a couple different directions. Solar's still pressing forward. The Siege Tank is going to be chased. The other Ghosts coming through. Gonna see that CC gonna float across. And again, Vikings Thors continue to build up from HeroMarine. Just gonna be seeing the Ghost coming in as well. This army of Solar wanting to press into this once again. Definitely feels like he's got a bit of momentum. Gets the Siege Tank. Would have actually liked the first round of Broodlings to drop onto the Ghosts. Maybe could have got a kill or so. The Banes are gonna chase the Ghosts down. They're already evacuating, realizing the issue. The Banes do get a bunch of those Ghost kills though, and I think that's a huge deal. Every Ghost we get rid of right now is really gonna be something that stops HeroMarine from being comfortable in this game. Now, Thors are out, so the Broodlords are not as unstoppable as they were before, but now he's starting to build Lings as well, and Solar just ping-pongs from one part of army, from one style of army to another, to keep on dealing with this. +3 missiles, +3 melee. Continue to build up on Solar's side. Everything else continuing through. Those upgrades all still coming about. I'm just going to stop HeroMarine from retaking this 5th base as well. The longer we can do that fort, the better off we will be. Parasite coming up, just going to be seeing, again, we've seen that spell cast. Won't be as impactful on the series as it might oftentimes seem it is in other ZvTs, but having the choice for it is definitely important for Solar, who has taken the map throughout this. We've obviously not really slowed down to stop and look, but he denied the 5th base from HeroMarine for a while. Now he's got so many bases of his own. He has got to be feeling good about that. Army comes through, we knock down a creep tumor straight away. Ling, Bane, Ravager, Infestor coming through. The few Broodlings and ready to go. The couple of Hellbats going to come around. One Hellbat's going to get sniped down immediately. Bane's Roach is coming about. A couple of Blind Clouds going down. The Thors are going to get caught in those Blind Clouds as well. That's going to be Solar looking for this big fight that he needs, but I don't think he's going to get enough done right here, so he's going to have to rebuild and go again. He does have the money to do that, though, and again, that's going to be the strength of Solar throughout the course of this, is that because he had a much stronger setup into this position compared to the earlier games that looked like this, rebuilding, resetting, going once more is so much more viable than it has been at any earlier point of this series. And the Brutal getting hunted down. A bunch more Banes coming through. I love this little Infestor just burrowed up into the ground. Opportunity there to lead into whatever fight comes next. As we do drop the massive fungal growth against the Ghosts that are going to be stuck so they can't retreat away from the Banelings. That's one of the ways you preserve those units, by pulling the Ghosts back from the Banes, but it's just not been possible here. Solar gets the 5th game of this series. That will be GG's. And Solar is going to take this matchup, and he will advance to play